Hey, 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 we are live on another Tuesday and we have John Asperian in the house today. Woohoo! This is like Bitmoji Jillian is like having a cow. She's just so excited, and so is the real Jillian. So I just have to say, John, I'm so excited that you're here. And this is like the second time I've got to meet you all by myself. And the first time everybody said, oh my gosh, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for that meeting. So now everyone can be a fly on the wall and we're together. So just in case there's like one or two souls that don't know who you are, could you just quickly introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, Gillian. This is an honor. Who am I? Well, I'm a B2B copywriter based in the UK. Over the last 4 years, I've been really digging deep into the way that LinkedIn works. So I've become more known for my content around LinkedIn profiles and LinkedIn content and getting engagement. So a lot of people are coming to me for those kind of services these days. And last year I published my first book, Content DNA, which Gillian is now modeling for you. And that is how to be noticed, remembered, and preferred by building your online personal brand. So thanks again for having me. And yeah, let's get stuck in, Gillian.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So one of the things I wanted to say is my book. I finally have my book, and I'm not going to tell you the story because I think it would take the whole 30 minutes, but I'm going to make a video about the journey of this book because it took a long time to get here. But anyways,
Okay.
I am a longtime fan. I love everything that John does, his posts, his articles, his book, his course, everything that he does. He's just YouTube channel, you name it. I am the major John fan. And one of the things that I kind of said before we started live today is one of the best kept secrets is your course. And I think your course has a little bit of a history. I know you've recently revamped it, but I know your course has its own sort of hero's journey, that it started out as a presentation. Then you said, hey, this is pretty good. I spent a lot of time making this presentation. Then you turned it into a course, and that was like version 1. And now we've ramped up to version 2. And you're recently released that. And I just wondered if we could talk about your course today, because I don't think that everybody knows that this is available. And I think it's an awesome resource because you are a teacher, you are a technical copywriter, you teach us how to do things. You take the most complicated thing and you make it easy peasy. And that's exactly what all of your training does. And you just kind of so much about it. So first off, I'd love to know playbook. Why did you choose that? Because that's interesting. That's a sports analogy, a playbook, but I think it adheres to business. And then also too, what's the changes between the first version and the newly created one? So 2 questions in one.
Great. Well, thank you for asking that. I just wanted to convey that this is quite a practical guide. It's not just fluffy, airy-fairy kind of ideas of best practice. It is quite specific in places. And yeah, when I first came up with a talk that I was delivering on stage back at Cambridge Social Media Day, this was at the end of 2019, before the pandemic kicked in, I came up with the idea for a talk called How Not to Be a LinkedIn Loser. And that was really well received. And I thought, well, if I could turn this into a set of videos, I could publish it and maybe make some extra income. And pretty quickly that earned me a couple of $1,000s. So I was really quite pleased that worked out. But over the course of the last year, I mean, so many things have changed on LinkedIn that I knew a static course really a year later wasn't going to cut it. And I thought, well, it's time to update this thing. And there are lots of stuff that I couldn't cover the first time that I thought I would go into in a bit more detail. Company pages, how to search the platform, how best to connect with people, what kind of messages to send them, advanced tips on how LinkedIn works and stuff like that. And then ongoing experimental feedback as well. So I thought, let's turn this into a more practical guide with much more content. So it's more than double the length of the original course now, and it's split into 8 modules that are part of the course. And then I've also got a private LinkedIn group that I've set up. I've never run a LinkedIn group before. So people who take the course are able to join that group, and I'll give them kind of ongoing, maybe semi-secret stuff like how my experiments are going, or other things that I've found that I might not put into a LinkedIn post. So and this is the way that I'm trying to move more of my content to become a lot more experimental, a lot more based around LinkedIn. And yeah, I hope that it helps people. It's all of my best thinking in one place.
Awesome. So can I ask, who is the course for? Like, when you kind of envision the person that's looking at the course, who is that perfect person?
I'm trying to aim at the same as my main avatar, which is business owners and people building their personal brands who either want to create content themselves or who want to be able to brief their content creators in a way that will service their personal brand. So you kind of, you know what you want to achieve. You've got enough information to give someone else the briefing so that they can do the work for you. But really, it tends to be small business owners who are ambitious enough to try and build their own online presence. It can be in pretty much any industry. I tend to work with people who naturally gravitate to the more techie B2B side of things, but actually it could be anyone who wants to stand out on LinkedIn, because the great thing about LinkedIn is it's not just for B2B. It can work for B2C brands as well. There's lots of examples of that working. So I think anyone who wants to build a presence on LinkedIn could benefit from this kind of information.
Super. And so it doesn't matter whether you're brand new to LinkedIn or you're a veteran that's kind of been floundering around for a while. Either person could really be helped, correct?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it does start with things that are quite foundational, like making sure that your headline is correct and applying my 3-part formula that I talk about on how to write a good headline. These are the things that I also cover in Content DNA. But towards the end of the course, it gets quite a lot deeper. But then because you've got access to the whole set of information, you don't need to dive into the advanced stuff unless you feel ready for it. So, you know, this is lifetime access to this stuff. So you can dive in whenever you feel suitably ready.
Super, super. So what about people who took your first course? Is there differences for them in this one?
Yeah, I've redone the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
So everything that those people already got was redone and then added to. So and everyone who bought the original course gets the whole upgraded version for free.
Oh, wow.
I don't like it when people, you know, they don't show loyalty to their existing customers. They're always chasing new customers all the time. But I want to show some loyalty to the people who showed loyalty to me. So anyone who's bought my stuff in the past on this course gets the upgraded version without having to pay me a penny. The new version of the course is at a higher price than the old version. So if you're coming along for the first time, then you are paying a higher rate, but then you're getting a lot more content. Although I believe that we have something that we can offer people so that they can maybe get the course without having to pay full rate.
Super. So stick around to the end and we will have a special treat for you. So we do have some folks in the comments. So can I just pop there for a second and let's just go to the top and see what we got. Oh, we got friends in the house. We got friends in the house doing
the Bee Gees dance for us.
She's so great with her little Bee Gees. Okay, so we have, hey, Jillian and John, great to see you live. It's so fun. It's so fun that LinkedIn Live allows you to put all these different contents. The comments. Speaking of flies on walls, I'm buzzing.
Nice. I
love it. And she's got a little bee. She's got the little bee. So this is great. This is great. It's a terrific book. Absolutely. This is
what? Juana, I've got to say a public thank you to Juana, because she helped me with one of the best beta reads of that book. She gave me so much feedback. It could have been an editorial commission, the way she went into detail. So I'm really grateful to Juana for her help. And I hope that the live captions on this video are working for you.
Me too. Me too. And she usually tells me they are going. So if anybody can tell me they are working, please, that would be nice to know. That's good. So then we have G. Woohoo. So excited to see two of my absolute faves today, Jillian Whitney and John Asperian. Yoo-hoo. We love her.
Nice. We love G.
She's just, and actually we met because of you. So she was looking for help. You sent her my way. We started talking and we worked together and we're friends. So kind of a double bonus, which is kind of nice. It's kind of like how the whole LinkedIn thing works. Everybody just kind of becomes friends. So it's awesome. There's Michelle Wolf with her little claps. They're so cute. So cute. I'm glad she found us because I know that remind me button, it's kind of flaky. It doesn't always work. Okay, Lauren, his videos, relentlessly helpfulness. Oh, absolutely. Your videos are awesome, John. And I think your course, let's just add that in. Your course is video, right? Because you can't make the assumption that everybody understands what's in a course. Because I've gotten some courses and they were just like, 3 emails a week or something like that. So these are videos, correct? It's a video course.
Yes, I based it on my original Keynote presentation. I'm a Mac user, so I do everything on Keynote. And that's how I presented the original version of the talk. And I kind of polished that presentation up for the original version. And I thought, well, this method is working. I just need to expand it. So everything stays as videos. Everything is captioned. And I explain it as clearly as I can. So I hope that that's the format that suits most people.
And I love that you caption your courses because not a lot of people do that. It takes extra time, but it just shows that you want to make your course accessible to everybody, your content accessible. And the nice thing about, I peeked at your course, and what's really nice too is it's not just one long 3-hour thing. It's broken down into modules. So they're bite-sized pieces. So you can learn something, go back over the video. You could learn what did I miss? You can take notes. So I think it's nice the way that you've broken it down in sort of that bite-sized chunks. Okay, so we've got, is John okay with having fangirls? I think absolutely, right, John?
I think Lois is the person to ask about that, not me.
Lois is good. She likes, as long as we all are aware that Miss Lois is in the house. And your other love, Miss Poppy, and your daughter. So you have this triangle of like 3 wonderful women in your life. So that's so cute. Okay. And those Friday t-shirts. Yes, the Friday t-shirts. We love the Friday t-shirts. So those are great too. Okay, we got another comment. You both are great at doing easy peasy. That's nice because it's like that's kind of a saying I stole from the Brits because it was like easy peasy, fresh and squeezy or something, lemon peasy or something like that. But I like that. So I feel I own that. I love the easy peasy.
Well, it's true, Gillian. I mean, you're bigging me up in this video and that's very kind of you, but your videos are just absolutely fantastic. So helpful. And
Thank you.
I really enjoy how clear you are with yours, and there's always something I learn or something helpful in your content, and there's just no fluff in there, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and I think the thing is that because we're both tech writers, that's a fundamental of you see things in a process and you see things in steps. And I think that tech writers bring to they bring to the table, hey, I can break it down for you one step at a time, as opposed to here's how you do it. We kind of show the process. And I think that's kind of a natural way tech writers think. And I have to tell you that truly, I changed my whole idea of how I do business after I read this book, because you talked about being known for something, which is kind of timely because I think Rebecca Wilson did a video and she did a book review of Known. And I went, you know what? I need to buy this book. I don't have this book. So I bought the book and I said something in the comments. And then you said I was a case study, or somehow it came up that you were a case study in the book. And so I was reading the book yesterday because I just got it and I'm juggling 5 books that I'm reading and they're all good, but I wanted to dig in and go read your case study. So here was the aha for me. First of all, it was, so great to see him talking about you, because in your book, you talk about him and the effect that he had on you. But here was the big takeaway for me. You weren't who you are today in that book. In Known, you were like us. people who are, we're the ones who are starting out. We're building. You're kind of up there, but you still talk to us, which is awesome. You're still approachable and talkable, but you have achieved the summit. And instead of just being up in the summit by yourself as this guru, you're just reaching down and showing us the path to take to join you, which to me is very commendable. But it was also wonderful to see that there was a time when you were just like the rest of us, trying to be known, trying to make your little mark in the world. And that to me is good for us, because I've never known you not be, who you are, the big guru. I didn't know you back then. So it's good, because if we can visualize you a couple of years ago when you were just starting out and trying to find your way, then I think we feel we can do it too. So
yeah, well, that's very, very kind of you to say. Here's some more interesting stuff about that. My business, at the point that I was being interviewed for that book, my business had already been going for 7 years. And I obviously hadn't made the social media impact that I would have liked. 7 years I was already going, not really getting very far. At that point that I was interviewed, I didn't have my one space that I wanted to be known on. Tried a bit of Twitter, tried a bit of Instagram, tried a bit of Facebook. Okay. And I didn't have my relentlessly helpful brand in place. Right. That core value around it, which everything else is built. I didn't have that. Despite that, Mark saw something in me that said, I need to interview this guy, and I want to give him 4 pages of my book for some reason. That was a real honor.
Wow.
So now it's 4 years since then. I've got the following, I've got the personal brand identity, I've got the people know that I'm on LinkedIn more than anything else. And so things are working out as a result of turning up every day and doing the right things. And that's really the message of the book. I've just given you the message of my book, Content DNA, is be known for one thing in one place,
and I think
turn up for enough time for it to make an impact.
Oh, and I think that's so important, because that time lag is important for people to know, because I think that's the most disheartening thing, is that people get onto LinkedIn and they think there's a Disneyland fast pass that, like, oh, I'll just take your course, or I'll sit down and have a session with 1 or 2 people and I will have a following of 30,000. And it doesn't work that way. Even when you do the proper training, you take the courses, you read the books, there's a learning curve, and you have to put in the time. And that is the one message that I'm seeing in the book Known, is that it's not just about your content, it's the consistency to keep showing up. And it's, I've been on LinkedIn for a while and I'm growing, but it's not an overnight thing. You have to keep showing up. You have to keep doing the work. You have to have a plan. You have to know who you're going to be. And after reading your book, I kind of said, I'm doing too much online marketing. What do I really want to be known for? And I went, I love video. And that was the one thing that I thought I could own, maybe that niche. And there are other people too. There's tons of great video people. So I just wanted a little morsel, a little crumb of it, and I was happy. And so focusing my efforts on one thing in one place, that was a great formula, which I learned by reading your book. So if I hadn't read your book, I think I might still be doing a lot of everything, it's very hard to do that, because then you don't really feel you're doing anything really, really well. But if you narrow it down.
There's kind of an analog here with writing website copy, which is the more stuff you delete, the more powerful what's left behind becomes. And that's what you're doing, is you're excising, you're removing all of the things that aren't fundamental, core to you, and you're planting your flag and you're saying, I'm going to be known for this thing. And that just makes you a lot more memorable. So easy. You occupy a clearer memory slot for me as being a video marketing person. That's it. That's all I need to remember. I don't need to remember 17 different things. And if you ally that with really good quality content, because I mean, you can't get away from that. It's still got to be good, whatever you do. And then the fact that you constantly show up. You know, if you were here 1 week and then gone for 5 weeks and then back for a few days, well, I ain't remembering you, frankly.
No,
but
absolutely.
If you keep showing up, you'll be one of those people who turns into that overnight success who's actually been going for 10 years, maybe. There's so many examples. And in Mark's book, Known, there's just, it's full of it's like 70 examples of people who are in that category. And if you read their case studies, you will see, okay, I can do this. He's done it, she's done it, he's done it, and it goes on and on and on. And they all exhibit the same properties.
Yep. And it doesn't matter your age. You can be young, you can be old, you could be doing this. And I think, if anything, if that's the one message we can send to everybody today, it doesn't matter how long you've been trying to promote your business, market yourself. If you're looking for a job, you're promoting yourself, you're marketing yourself. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. You can still succeed. There's no time limit. Like, okay, if you haven't done it in 4 years, give up. You just have to keep going. But also too, continuing to do the same thing and expecting different results. Sometimes you have to, if something's not working for you, you then have to educate yourself. And that's when you read books, you take courses, you meet with people, you get a coach. If things are not working for you, you sometimes have to find a way to get some help. So let me just.
I'd also like to say that I don't know if you've heard the Zig Ziglar quote, which is, you know, you'll get everything you want if you can help enough other people get what they want. And that's another. I think it's a bit of a blocker that people have, is that they'll kind of be frightened to share the knowledge that they have, thinking, oh, well, what if my competitors find out this stuff, you know? And it's just not true. And especially I found on LinkedIn, if you've got that abundance mindset that there's enough space for everyone, and if you can just be the most helpful person in your space, you will succeed. And that means sharing your knowledge and creating transparent, helpful content. And that's kind of the vibe I'm taking into the second book that I'm scoping out at the moment. So watch out for that, hopefully in the next year or so.
Well, and that's so important, because we actually had that question on Clubhouse last week in our LinkedIn entrepreneurs group. And somebody said, he was new to LinkedIn. He said, should I be connecting with my competitors? And we've, quite frankly, all 5 of us agreed that there's really no such thing as competitors. That's a scarcity mindset. And I think of all the LinkedIn leaders that I know, if they were all competitive and never spoke to each other, what a terrible conversation this would all be. And I know many, many video marketers, and I would never look at another video marketer and say, well, I can't tell them I use Camtasia and I use Subly and I use, I'm not going to tell them about Clipchamp and all these things. It's like, no, just put it out there. There's enough work for all of us. And at the end of the day, people are going to want to work with the people that they resonate with. So there could just be reasons why somebody goes, I don't want to work with somebody on Pacific time. You're just like in a terrible time zone for me. I got to work with somebody who's in, Germany. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So no competitors.
And the internet has pretty much killed the era of secrets. So if they don't get the information from you, they're going to get it from someone else. So they might as well get it from you, because that's how you'll be memorable and trustworthy to them. So don't hold on to those secrets, people. It's not going to serve you any good.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got some more comments. So I've been terrible on the comments. Okay, so here we go. Oh, big long one. John Asparin's book is amazing, and Jillian Whitney is doing a video on it to add the proverbial frosting to the topic. Nice. I'll be sure to have things flying in and out. We'll have Max in it. We'll have all sorts of good stuff. I like to use these videos as my creativity. The words John and LinkedIn loser have no biz being in the same universe. Just saying. And audio version is like listening to an old friend. That's actually kind of cool that you have that audio version, because it's like, I heard some of your tests. I don't have the audio version of your book, only because I don't have Audible. But I think I heard some of your test chapters, and it felt like you were in the car. Like, it's like we were going on holiday.
I'm glad you like it. Thank you. Yes, I've made the first 6 chapters of the book completely free
Oh,
audio slices on my website, and there's no pop-ups, no sign-ups, nothing. You can just click play and listen to it. So
you're
that
such a
should give you enough of a vibe as to whether you might like the rest of the book.
Okay, who is John and what CV is the book? That's a long one. You'll have to just go. Well, we'll fill you in later. We can't. That's okay. What is the book about? LinkedIn and you know your presence online. So definitely. You're welcome, John. Only too happy to help. She's awesome. She's awesome. I'm loving her videos. Okay, he is always in shape, brand wise, LinkedIn wise, but most of all, he is coming from a beginner's mind, understands the user experience, and act from there. One and only John Asperian. That's nice.
That's really kind.
That's
Thank
nice.
you, Yana.
You got a lot of friends. You got a lot of fans. Seeing you both on the same screen is just the best. I'm imagining Craig Allen, who is our biggest fan of both of us and a dear, dear friend, our great Scott, our favorite Scott, we like to say. And he says, "You think I'm your only Scott?" No, you're not. We know lots of Scotts, but I'm sure Greg, I'm feeling his presence going, it's them. Okay. The book is not only an amazing read, the writing is riveting. It is. It's
Thank you, Lauren.
And in my Amazon review, and by the way, anybody listening to this, if you have bought this book, please go do an Amazon review because it matters. It matters for the algorithm for Amazon, and it lets other people that don't know John find him and learn about LinkedIn. So, please, Amazon reviews are great. But one of the things I put in my Amazon review is that I felt like I was binging. It was like Netflix binging. I'd get to the end. You were a master at this. I'd get to the end of the chapter and I'd be like, well, I can't put that down. I've got to go on. And I binged through the whole book. I read it in 2 days. It was just amazing.
Awesome. You're very kind. Thank you, Gillian.
Okay, such a great point, Jillian. John is truly the most humble leader out there. His moments never get in the way of his mission.
Wow.
Lots of fans. Like I'm going to put these all in a little cookie jar for you. And then if you ever have a bad day, John, just pull out all these comments.
Please do. This is like a roll call of all of my favorite people from the Friday Shout that
Exactly.
I've been doing.
It's great. It's great. Okay. Joining late. Greetings to you too. Namaste, Jeff. Namaste. Jeff, I wore my Google t-shirt. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, well, I wore my Google t-shirt for him today. Okay. It's only Tuesday. And this is the third time this week already. I've been reminded of known. It's a sign I need to bump that up to the to read list. That's what I did. I'm juggling.
It's one of my favorite business books of all time. It's a really must read foundational book about personal branding. So it's well worth a look, G.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Coming anywhere close to the greatness and kindness of John Asperian would be considered a huge success. Okay. Spot on, Jillian, and love the Disneyland Fast Pass analogy. Sums it up. If you haven't been to Disneyland, it makes no sense, but you got to go to Disneyland. It's a long line. It's kind of like getting to the success thing. It's amazing. You two folks are at the top of my LinkedIn leader list. Great job. Namaste. Okay. Yep. Doing the same thing and over and expecting different results is the mission of insanity. Oh, look at that. He found it he Googled it by Einstein. Woohoo. There's no competition, only collaborators. And Lauren is one of the 5 in my Clubhouse group. So thank you, Lauren. If memory serves, Brenda Meller refers to that as
co-opetition. That's right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. I couldn't say it, but I can.
It's kind of halfway instead of a competition. It's cooperation. But yes,
nice.
Yeah, I like that. And
nice.
You know what? Some of the people mentioned here, like people like Jeff Young and Brenda Meller, you think about people like Andy Foote, these people they didn't just turn up and they're superstars immediately. They're putting years of effort into this stuff. And so that's my reminder to everyone that it takes time, and you might be at a different stage of your race than everyone else, but that's okay. So long as you're pointing in the right direction, you know what you stand for, you know where you want to plant your flag, and you want what march from there. That's cool. You might be behind some people, you might probably be ahead of a lot of people. That's fine. Just keep marching. And if you keep doing that in the right direction, then eventually you will get to whatever that goal is that you've set for yourself. And just don't give up. So many people give up too soon.
They
And
do.
as I talk about in the book, you've got to have this 30-month mindset. Sometimes it takes longer than that. But if you think you're going to turn up and then 2 weeks later you're going to be a superstar earning mega bucks, the chances of that are very, very low. Turn up, do the work. Eventually you'll get the rewards.
And don't worry about other people. Just compare yourself. And, I just started doing my stats for the first time ever. And it's kind of like being on a diet and you keep weighing yourself. You hate to do it, but but by doing it, you learn. And every day it's like it's just little, but over the course of time, all those little bits add up. And so that's really good. You have to measure where you're going and, just keep at it.
Yeah.
So
you should also try to log the intangible things as much as possible. I was invited to a podcast today. Someone sent me a really nice email about something I did. You've got to log those things because they're the things that you can look back on when times get tough, which they will, to say, I am doing good things. I am moving in the right direction. And eventually you'll find that you'll start getting more and more and more of those things to the point where they become every day. But if you don't log those things, it's very easy to lose your motivation. Got to look back at the good stuff and keep that in mind, that you're making a difference.
Yes. And I know that like sometimes somebody will just send me a random DM and just, say, hey, I finally had the courage to do my first video. I wanted you to see it. And I just feel really good because it's like, I helped them. That, it's like, if it wasn't, I just feel that that's my little gift. I help somebody and I take great pride when people just come back to me and say, thanks, your comment caused me to think that I could do this or something. So I think
that's the thing that motivates me to keep going. Every time someone goes, oh, why didn't someone just say that before? I get it now.
Right.
I love that feeling of giving someone that gift of knowledge.
Absolutely.
So that keeps me going.
So I want to go ahead and just show this. So let me pop this. Is this so fun? I just love StreamYard. It's so cool that you can do this. So here is John. This is his course. It's the LinkedIn Leaders Playbook. And Bitmo Jillian is telling you to scan the code. And what that simply means is if you got an iPhone or an Android or whatever, if you take a picture of that QR code and you just snap it with your phone, you're going to go to John's website and you're going to see the course and what it's about and who's reviewed it and all the good stuff, everything about the course. So please go check that out. And then John, what is the super surprise that we said we'd say at the end, that they can get a discount, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone watching this live or on replay, if you enter the discount code Jillian in all capital letters, so that's Jillian with 2 L's, remember the correct spelling of Jillian's name, that will get you $50 off at the checkout, however that converts to your currency. So that's a nice little discount on the course, and I hope you enjoy it.
Awesome sauce. So I think that's a nice treat, and I really appreciate that you've made that available to everybody. So that's really good. So we're at 33333, a magical time. Now we're at 337. But anyways, thank you so much for being here today, John. It was awesome. It was fun to talk with you, and I hope you'll come on again and we can talk about more stuff, because I think this was really fun. And I really thank you everybody who showed up today in the comments, because it's just really nice to know that you're there. And I think that's what's so fun about these LinkedIn Lives, that we have this, ability to chat with people, ask questions. So maybe we can come back another time and do a sort of ask me anything hour and just take questions. So that'd be kind of fun too. So maybe we could do that in the future until you get your own live. So that's going to happen soon, right? Because you keep putting in those applications. So I'm on application number 4, still hoping. We just have to whine about it. If we all whine to LinkedIn, they'll give it to you. So that's what we have to do. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. Bye-bye. And great to see you this week. Bye. Thanks for having me.